I mean, you just hit it right there. Broncos were 49 hours into the legal tampering period. Broncos have not made any outside moves. And Baldy, there is some panic, concern, freak out here in Broncos country by a large majority of the fan base. Do you think that is right? Or do you think that fans need to be okay with the lack of moves? How do you view this from an outside perspective about the Broncos?
Well, they're not alone. I mean, Seattle hasn't made a move. They want to just won a Super Bowl. They just signed a couple of their own guys, Rashid Shaheed. Jacksonville was in the playoffs last year, won the division. They have not made a move, so they're not alone. But people overpay in free agency. They try to sign. They signed Dre Greenlaw last year. It didn't work out. They've released him. It doesn't always work out. A lot of these deals that we see with big money deals are basically 1 year deals. In some cases 2 year deals. But I don't think it has to be a panic situation at this point. I mean, I think George Paton believes in drafting and developing players. They've got 9 picks. They've got a good roster. If they hit on their draft picks, they're going to be fine. But there could still be something done here today. I mean, George Paton has made 33 trades in his 4 years there. Like, there's still time to do some deals, and maybe they're just sitting back waiting for the right one right now.
Yeah, I just thought back to the first trade he made, and that was not my favorite of the trades with Russell Wilson coming here. But yeah, it's been a little bit disappointing to. We were already with like emergency shows and all that, and like they're gonna make some big splashes, and now it seems like they're waiting, and they could probably blow $10 million a year on somebody. And if they do that, I mean, is Dallas Goedert an option? Like where would they go? Who are the guys who could still be like a substantial upgrade for the Broncos?
Well, I think just bringing J.K. Dobbins back, says something. Probably takes him out of the running back market. They like J.K. and until the injury, he was playing great for him. So they did do that. But I don't know, like Dallas Goedert. I live in Philly. Like, that guy's been a great player. He caught 11 touchdown passes last year. Like, he's a closer. I mean, they don't have like nothing against Evan Ingram, but Goddard's 6'6". You put he can win the jump balls in the red zone and in the end zone when you got to finish a drive. Like, he's pretty good at that, and he's a good inline blocker. So he's a possibility. I don't think Philly's going to sign him. I don't think they've even. It was questionable whether they're going to sign him for a year last year. So I think he could be available, but he's had some injuries like a lot of these players. But for the most part, when he's healthy, he's a good player, and he'd be a guy that I'd be interested in. I'd be interested to see if the price drops in A.J. Brown, if that's still a possibility. I know that there's interest there on both sides, like maybe tepid, but some interest, at least enough to inquire to what the asking price is. Howie Roseman hasn't really budged off of what he wants, but maybe as time goes on here through the day, maybe there's a renewed interest in that.
Okay. Baldy, on this show, we like Alex Singleton a lot, but a lot of Broncos fans do not like Alex Singleton. I'm curious what you think of Alex's game.
Well, he makes a lot of tackles. Some of them might be 6 yards down the field. That probably is what it is, and he doesn't take the ball away. But he's an inspirational story, just what he went through. And except for that, particular situation that he had to get taken care of, he's been a healthy player. You could depend on him. When he was in Philadelphia, he was a healthy, dependable player. There's just something about guys that just get their job done and are dependable. Is he flashy? Not really. But they thought Dre Greenlaw was going to be flashy. And he wasn't any of that. And so they released him. And so sometimes steady is not a bad thing. Steady and consistent is not a bad thing to have when it comes to playing defense. They led the league, in sacks last year. They could very easily do that again, even with the loss of John Franklin Myers. They've got the depth there, and they got the horses up front. And the way that they blitz, they ask their linebackers to do a lot. They have a lot of 5-man pressures. The linebackers are in a lot of situations where they've got to, cover a lot of ground. And so I think he knows how to do that, and he's a smart, intelligent player.
Baldy, I got to ask you then about J.K. Dobbins, bringing him back. He's clearly, with the contract he got, 2 years, $16 million, he's clearly the Broncos' starting number one running back. He is so good when he plays, but obviously there's the injury concerns. How do you weigh that, them bringing him back with also pretty much making him the number one running back?
They probably went in there thinking that he's not going to play 17 games in a postseason. They probably know that because he hasn't done it. But when he does play, he's very productive. He averaged 5 yards a carry last year. Like, he's running back number one. You got to get RJ Harvey ready to go. You got to probably try not to overload him with carries early in the season. Probably 10 to 15 carries probably is what they should probably think about doing to start the season. But within that, he's been very, very good. And so it won't surprise me. I know that they have other guys there, Jaleel and, Tyler. I think there's other guys in the roster. But it wouldn't surprise me to see him draft a running back. They've got 9 picks. They got a bunch of late-round picks. We've seen, Kyle Monangai and Pacheco. We've seen those guys come into 7th-round picks and be really productive in this league. Jaleel was a free agent. You could still go find a running back late in the draft right here if you feel like you need more insurance.
I'm curious what you think of the Romeo Dobbs deal, because he was a name that for a second was kind of rumored with the Broncos. And in some ways it makes sense. They only have 4 real receivers on the roster at the moment, so getting a guy with a little proven production would make sense. Personally, I was shocked, though. It's like almost $20 million a year to go to the Patriots.
Well, they wanted a guy. Obviously, they weren't bringing Diggs back. I think Diggs is a better player than Romeo Dobbs. Romeo is younger, but he's had injuries too. Diggs, outside of the knee injury in Houston, has been relatively healthy for 10 years. I'm a little surprised because I think you could get Diggs for that amount. But Dobbs does have an explosive element to his game. He is a sure-handed guy, but he has missed time with injuries. And really, in Green Bay, they spread the ball around. Even Matt LaFleur had come out and said at one point, we don't believe in labeling our receivers number 1 and number 2. Jaden Reed has had his days. Christian Watson has had his days there. Dontavius Wicks has had his days. So Dobbs was one of 4 or 5 guys. They're going to get Tucker Kraft back, who was their best receiver. So he was expendable. And they drafted Matthew Golden in the 1st round. So he was expendable. I thought that there would be a play for A.J. Brown to reunite him with Mike Vrabel, and maybe the asking price was too big. Maybe the salary that A.J. makes was prohibitive with the contract that he currently has. And so maybe they feel like they got a good deal with the younger Romeo Dobbs right there.
Baldy, what do you think is going to happen with Brandon Aiyuk?
I don't know. Like I can't read the tea leaves on this situation. I know Brandon Aiyuk. He was a guy that obviously was a 1st-round pick out of Arizona State. Took him a while to earn his way through San Francisco, and then has a monster year, an explosive year, and then they get a contract, and he tears his knee, and we haven't seen him since. And he burned his one thing players, and not just Aiyuk, but all players. You should never burn a bridge with your team. Like maybe Dre Greenlaw can go back to San Francisco and reunite with Fred Warner. The Jets just reunited with for a 3rd time with Demario Davis, for a 2nd time with Geno Smith. Like you should always leave the door open. And whatever Brandon Aiyuk did, he burnt that bridge in San Francisco. But he's still a young, talented guy. Now I don't know his health, because we haven't seen him since the knee injury. But I mean, you have to be interested enough to at least put him to a physical and fly him in and see what he looks like. Because when he's healthy, like he is a great route runner, and he is a difficult guy to handle. He was receiver number 1 in San Francisco for the better part of 2 years. And so, I mean, there's a guy you have to take a look at because he's still young. He's probably 27 off the top of my head, maybe 28 at the most. But he's still a guy that, should draw interest in this league. I just don't know where the mind or the head is at right now.
So then, Baldy, from a Broncos perspective, you would bring him in and at least give him a look?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because he is a real – I mean, look, he just knows how to separate. He can beat man coverage against anybody. He is a great route runner, and he's a student of the game too. Like you talk to him like he's a sharp kid. He knows the game. He loves the game. I don't know where he's at mentally, but if I was anybody and I was in search of a receiver and he was – I guess he's been absolutely released, flat out released by San Francisco. I'm just guessing he has. Like I would bring him in for a workout, a physical, the whole thing.
Baldy, final one for you, and it's probably something you're going to talk about for a large majority of your 6 hours. The Raiders, Ravens, Maxx Crosby. I mean, from a Broncos perspective, we're viewing this like, is Maxx Crosby going to be in the division this year? What do you think happens? What do you think of the entire situation? Where's Maxx Crosby playing next year?
It's weird, and I did see that. Sean Payton sent him a note. Thanking him for his time in the AFC West, and like it was all tongue. It was good. It was good humor by Sean. But but it showed his respect. I mean, I went back and watched his Week 16 game, and they said he was suffering from a knee injury and couldn't practice. Like he was vintage Maxx. He played in Week 16 against Houston. He played every snap, all 65. He hit C.J. Stroud. He had tackle for losses. He tackled Nick Chubb, chased him down the field on a breakaway run, 30 yards down to make the tackle. Like his effort was vintage Maxx. Like I didn't see anything wrong with Maxx Crosby. Now, I failed physicals before in places and passed them in other places and ended up playing a whole season with no repercussion. So this stuff does happen. I'm working with Maurice Jones-Drew today. He failed a physical, I think, in Pittsburgh, passed one in Oakland, went to play for the Raiders. But I guess, going back to the Raiders makes sense. But if I'm Philadelphia, if I'm somebody looking for a pass rusher, with what they've lost in Philly, like I would certainly call his camp and see where he's at and what the Raiders would take for Maxx Crosby. I mean, the Ravens got back their 14th pick this year, the number 1 pick next year. They spent most of the money that they were going to pay Maxx with the Raiders. I don't know what the situation is right now, but I know this: Maxx is going to be ready to play football at 100% come September.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Love the insight, Baldy. Thanks for joining us today. In a week from now, we'll probably be able to ask you about an outside free agent the Broncos have signed. But until then, Baldy, we look forward to seeing you on NFL Network.
Okay, guys. Take care, man. I'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Baldy. That is our guy, Brian Baldinger, calling in on the Xfinity mobile call-in line.